Hey Spurs fans, welcome back to another update on our San Antonio Spurs. Before we jump into today's breaking news, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And here's something special for you. Everyone who subscribes and leaves a comment with their name and the city they're watching from will automatically be entered into our giveaway to win an official San Antonio Spurs jersey. So don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment your name and city below. Stay tuned, because the next Spurs fan wearing the jersey could be you. The Spurs have chosen caution over spectacle on the eve of a high-stakes matchup. Victor Wembanyama will not play Wednesday night in Los Angeles as the franchise prioritizes his recovery above the immediate allure of a trip to Las Vegas. That decision is simple in words and complex in consequence. A deliberate halt to urgency that speaks to a medical philosophy and a strategic patience few teams are willing to show when a marquee date looms on the calendar. The club's message is unequivocal: health first. Coach Mitch Johnson made clear in the hours following a 135-132 victory in New Orleans that the young center would travel with the roster, but travel did not equal readiness. The organization elected to rule him out for the NBA Cup quarterfinals against the Lakers, a choice aiming to protect the athlete from a premature return that could cascade into a far worse setback. In short, the Spurs are refusing to gamble with a cornerstone. Understanding why this posture matters requires a look beyond headlines. A calf strain in an athlete of Wembanyama's size is not a minor inconvenience. It is a structural stress point affecting sprinting, jumping, and landing mechanics, the very motions that define his value on both ends of the court. Rehabilitation is a sequence of measurable phases: pain and swelling reduction, progressive range of motion, graduated strength rebuilding, and finally reintroduction of plyometrics and full contact drills. Hurrying any step risks recurrence or a more severe tear that would prolong absence for weeks, not days. There is also a timing calculus that extends past physiology. Missed contests erode exposure and narrow the window for award recognition and narrative momentum. In a league where perception and availability shape honors, each game sat becomes a figure in an equation the player and franchise must weigh. Sitting this particular contest in Los Angeles buys the team and the athlete time to rehabilitate methodically, and time to avoid a headline-forcing relapse that could derail a season and a career arc. Meanwhile, on-court performance since Wembanyama's exit has complicated the narrative. The Spurs have compiled 8 wins in 11 games without him, including 2 victories in the NBA Cup that secured their advancement to the quarterfinals. Those results accomplish 2 things simultaneously. They blunt short-term outrage from the fan base by proving the group can compete, and they raise the bar for the Stars' eventual return. The team no longer looks helpless without him, so his comeback must add tangible value, not mere pageantry. Calendar logistics sharpen the dilemma. If San Antonio defeats the Lakers, the squad will face a semifinal in Vegas after 3 days of rest. If it loses, there is nearly a week until the next contest. That binary compresses decisions. A return scheduled too close to high-intensity elimination basketball would demand confidence in both medical markers and match fitness measures that cannot be faked. Put plainly, reinserting a player before he can endure repeated contact and sprint loads is reckless. The Spurs appear unwilling to cross that line. The public quotation offered by the coach, that the medical approach will not change for a single matchup, is less a platitude than a policy. It signals an internal standard that elevates long-term availability above short-term optics. That stance will be tested in real time. The organization must balance fans' appetite for spectacle, media pressure, and the athlete's own competitive urges against an unimpeachable medical judgment. Success will depend on discipline at every level. From a performance perspective, the Spurs are managing replacements and load distribution carefully. Rotation minutes have been redistributed. Practice scripts have been altered to simulate challenges Wembanyama typically creates, and conditioning staff have designed individualized workloads to prevent overuse injuries among those absorbing extra minutes. This is not improvisation. It is controlled triage that preserves team identity while shielding the injured centerpiece from needless strain. Psychology plays a role as well. When Wembanyama faces the internal conflict every elite competitor dreads, the urge to return and the rational need to heal. That tension ripples through the locker room. Teammates see both the gamble of pushing early and the temptation to rely on him to close tight games. The coaching staff must manage expectations, shielding the player from rush narratives while keeping the competitive fire alive. How that balance is navigated will shape not just outcomes on the court, but the cohesion of the group. Strategically, the Spurs' posture signals a long view. Protecting the athlete now preserves the franchise's investment for playoff runs and future seasons. It also preserves the possibility of having him available for the moments that matter most. Conversely, a miscalculated return could cost not just weeks of availability, but also the physical foundation on which a generational career is built. The organization appears to have chosen patience. For observers tracking awards and legacy, this creates an uneasy tension. Availability matters for voters, but so does impact when present. If Wembanyama returns in time to influence high-profile playoff moments, the absence tally will matter far less than the memory of decisive performances. If, however, missed games mount and the narrative shifts to fragility, his case for individual honors could suffer despite his dominant per-game metrics. The stakes are both immediate and reputational. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support keeps our Spurs coverage strong and brings you the latest updates straight from San Antonio. And jump into the comments. Tell us what you think about today's news. In a stunning and unprecedented twist that detonated shockwaves across the basketball world, the San Antonio Spurs delivered one of the most jaw-dropping announcements in recent NBA memory by revealing that all-star Jaylen Brown, the explosive two-way force from the Boston Celtics, would be joining their roster in a move that instantly transformed league narratives, ignited social media, and left fans everywhere scrambling to understand how such a monumental acquisition had unfolded seemingly out of nowhere, creating a dramatic and electrifying starting point for what many analysts are already calling one of the most significant turning points in the franchise's modern history. The moment the news went public, the atmosphere around the Spurs shifted dramatically, morphing from cautious optimism into an aura of bold ambition as the franchise made it abundantly clear that they're no longer content to merely rebuild slowly, but are instead ready to accelerate their trajectory toward competitiveness by adding one of the league's premier talents, a player whose physicality, leadership, and scoring power could instantly elevate the team's identity and redefine its long-term blueprint in ways that seemed unthinkable just days before. Jaylen Brown, known across the league for his relentless work ethic, elite perimeter defense, and ability to dominate offensively through sheer force and finesse, represents not just a player acquisition, but a philosophical shift for the Spurs, signaling that the organization is fully committed to constructing a roster capable of contending in the near future rather than waiting passively for young talent to develop at its own pace. A shift that has been met with equal parts excitement, disbelief, and feverish curiosity. The Celtics fan base reacted with shock and heartbreak, as Brown, who had long been viewed as part of Boston's emotional core alongside Jason Tatum, was expected to remain a foundational piece of their championship pursuits, making the trade feel not only surprising, but almost surreal, particularly given the timing and the secrecy that surrounded negotiations, which reportedly progressed quietly behind closed doors until the moment the deal was finalized. For the Spurs, this acquisition represents one of the boldest swings in franchise history, one that echoes past moments when the organization made quiet yet transformative decisions that ultimately reshaped eras of success. But this time the move carries the unmistakable energy of a statement, a declaration that the new era of San Antonio basketball is not only underway, but accelerating far faster than anyone anticipated. The arrival of Brown immediately elevates the Spurs both on the court and in terms of national relevance, injecting star power into a roster built around emerging young talent, and giving head coach Greg Popovich a versatile, battle-tested veteran who can provide leadership, scoring consistency, and elite physical intensity, all attributes that are invaluable to a team striving to build a new identity in a fiercely competitive Western Conference. Even more compelling is the potential synergy between Brown and the Spurs' rising superstar center, whose combination of length, playmaking, and defensive instincts has already turned heads across the NBA, and now, paired with Brown's downhill scoring and defensive versatility, San Antonio suddenly possesses a dynamic 1-2 punch that could evolve into one of the most formidable tandems in the league if developed properly. The announcement also sparked immediate speculation about the Spurs' long-term strategy, with many analysts suggesting that this move is only the beginning of a broader plan to surround the team's young cornerstone with proven high-caliber talent, signaling that the franchise is ready to balance development with assertive roster construction in order to climb the standings faster than expected. As fans dissect the implications, the magnitude of acquiring a player of Brown's caliber cannot be overstated, as he brings not only elite scoring from all three levels, but also a powerful physical presence that sets the tone defensively, traits that the Spurs have been missing in recent years, and that could dramatically change the way opponents game plan against them from opening night onward. Brown himself expressed overwhelming enthusiasm upon being introduced by the team, emphasizing his excitement to embrace a fresh challenge, contribute his leadership, and help elevate the Spurs back to a position of prominence. Comments that resonated deeply with fans who have long been eager for a jolt of star power capable of revitalizing their hopes and energizing the fan base after several seasons of rebuilding. Although the Spurs have traditionally built through the draft and avoided blockbuster trades, the acquisition of Brown demonstrates a newfound willingness to adapt to the modern NBA landscape, where aggressive roster moves are often necessary to keep pace with rapidly shifting competitive dynamics. And this pivot may ultimately prove to be the turning point that propels San Antonio out of the league's lower tiers and into meaningful contention once again. League insiders reported that several teams had expressed interest in Brown over the past year, but the Spurs' unique combination of attractive assets, long-term vision, and organizational stability may have given them a decisive advantage during negotiations, illustrating the franchise's ability to move with precision and stealth even in an era dominated by leaks and constant media speculation. Fans across social media erupted as soon as the official announcement dropped, flooding timelines with reactions ranging from joyful disbelief to detailed speculative breakdowns of how Brown's arrival would reshape rotations, play style, and long-term strategy. And the excitement reflected the gravity of the moment, as the Spurs had not made a move of this magnitude since the early days of their previous championship era. Meanwhile, Boston's front office received a wave of scrutiny from local media and fans questioning how and why the organization chose to part ways with such an impactful player, though early indications suggest that internal dynamics, contract considerations, and roster balance played significant roles in shaping the decision, particularly as the team continues to navigate the complexities of sustaining championship-level competitiveness in a salary cap-driven environment. For San Antonio, the benefits extend far beyond talent acquisition, as adding a player of Brown's stature instantly elevates the franchise's credibility among future free agents, signaling that the Spurs are no longer solely in developmental mode, but are actively assembling a competitive roster capable of attracting high-level interest and accelerating the team's return to relevance. Popovich, renowned for his ability to maximize the strengths of versatile players, now inherits a star capable of excelling within multiple offensive and defensive frameworks, making Brown an ideal fit for a system built upon adaptability, movement, spacing, and unselfish execution, and the potential for creative lineup combinations appears almost limitless. The combination of Brown's veteran experience and the youthful potential of the Spurs' emerging core provides a rare blend of leadership and athletic upside, creating an environment where younger players can learn, grow, and compete alongside a seasoned star who understands the demands of postseason basketball and the discipline required to reach the highest levels of the game. Analysts quickly pointed out that Brown's arrival drastically alters the Spurs' long-term timeline, accelerating their competitive window and positioning them as a serious threat to disrupt established powerhouses in the Western Conference, particularly if the front office continues to add complementary pieces around its new star duo in the coming months. The financial implications of the move are also significant, as the Spurs now enter a strategic phase where cap management becomes critical to maintaining roster flexibility. But early indications suggest that the organization is prepared to navigate these complexities with precision in order to maximize the value of Brown's prime years. Fans attending the team's introductory press conference described the atmosphere as electric, noting that Brown's presence brought a renewed sense of hope and unity to a fan base eager to embrace a new chapter of competitive basketball after several seasons marked by uncertainty and transition. As training camp approaches, speculation intensifies regarding how quickly Brown will integrate into the Spurs system. Though given his high basketball IQ, adaptability, and work ethic, many expect the transition to be seamless, especially as the coaching staff begins designing plays that capitalize on his ability to attack off the dribble, finish through contact, and create space for teammates. One of the most intriguing aspects of Brown's game is his defensive versatility, as he possesses the strength, agility, and discipline to guard multiple positions, making him a pivotal anchor for a team seeking to reestablish its defensive identity and rekindle the proud tradition of physical, intelligent basketball that has defined the Spurs for decades. Offensively, Brown's ability to score efficiently at all three levels, whether through powerful drives, mid-range precision, or improved three-point shooting, introduces a dimension of unpredictability that opposing defenses must account for, creating greater freedom for the team's young playmakers to operate and fostering a more dynamic, fluid offensive identity. Although questions remain regarding how Brown will adapt to his expanded role in San Antonio, early conversations with the front office suggest that he is eager to embrace greater responsibility, both as a primary scoring option and as a mentor to the team's rising stars, particularly those still learning to navigate the complexities of NBA competition. The impact of this acquisition extends beyond basketball strategy, as Brown has long been known for his community involvement, leadership initiatives, and off-court activism, traits that align strongly with the Spurs' organizational culture and could inspire meaningful engagement between the player, the franchise, and the broader San Antonio community. As the basketball world continues to digest the implications of the move, the Spurs front office has earned widespread praise for its boldness and clarity of vision, demonstrating that the organization is ready to execute decisive, ambitious steps to reclaim its place among the league's most respected and competitive franchises. Internally, the team's younger players reportedly reacted to the announcement with excitement and motivation, recognizing that practicing and competing alongside an all-star of Brown's caliber presents an invaluable opportunity to elevate their skills, maturity, and understanding of the game. Across league circles, rival executives acknowledged that San Antonio's acquisition of Brown could dramatically shift competitive dynamics in the West, forcing opposing teams to reassess their own roster strategies as the Spurs position themselves for a rapid ascent that few expected at the start of the season. This move also signals to the league that the Spurs are prepared to embrace modern roster-building philosophies, blending patient development with aggressive pursuit of established stars, a hybrid strategy that reflects the evolving nature of NBA team construction and increases the franchise's ability to adapt quickly to emerging opportunities. For fans, the timing of the move could not be more energizing, arriving at a moment when renewed confidence in the franchise's long-term vision was desperately needed, and the introduction of a player with Brown's pedigree injects fresh excitement into a team poised to reinvent itself both stylistically and competitively. Brown's leadership qualities, often praised by teammates and coaches throughout his career, provide the Spurs with a stabilizing presence capable of guiding younger players through the highs and lows of a demanding season. And his commitment to professionalism aligns perfectly with the organization's historic emphasis on discipline and integrity. As the first glimpses of Brown in Spurs colors circulate online, fan anticipation continues to soar, with ticket sales, merchandise demands, and social engagement experiencing immediate spikes that reflect the immense cultural and sporting impact of such a monumental acquisition. Looking ahead, Brown's presence could accelerate the development of the Spurs' offensive schemes, as his ability to draw defensive attention creates space for shooters, slashers, and playmakers to explore new ways to attack, enhancing team chemistry and fostering greater cohesion across the roster. As analysts continue to dissect every detail of the trade, one overarching message remains clear. The Spurs have made a bold declaration of intent, signaling that they are ready to compete not just for progress, but for prominence, with Jaylen Brown serving as the centerpiece of a new era defined by ambition, tenacity, and the pursuit of excellence. In the days to come, San Antonio's coaching staff will begin integrating Brown into film sessions, practice rotations, and strategic planning, setting the foundation for a seamless transition that maximizes his strengths and establishes a clear blueprint for how he will guide the team throughout the season. As the dust settles on this seismic announcement, the Spurs find themselves at a pivotal crossroads, armed with a transformative talent, renewed organizational energy, and a powerful sense of possibility that has reignited belief throughout the franchise and its fan base. Ultimately, the acquisition of Jaylen Brown may go down as one of the defining moments in the San Antonio Spurs' modern history, a moment when the franchise disrupted expectations, embraced bold innovation, and signaled to the world that its pursuit of excellence is far from over, setting the stage for a thrilling new chapter filled with potential, passion, and profound competitive ambition. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of every exclusive San Antonio Spurs news drop, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And don't forget, your opinion matters to Spurs Nation. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.